When we help people implement S&OP, one of the first things we do is establish tolerance levels for each of their plans. Why are these tolerance levels important? Well, think of your business like a car driving on the highway. Tolerances are the lanes on that highway. As long as you stay in the lanes, you're moving smoothly, safely, and predictably. But the second you drift over the line, alarms should go off. That's the signal that something is wrong and you need to take corrective action before you veer too far off course. This is exactly how tolerances work in demand planning. They're not about punishing people for being wrong. They're about creating boundaries that help you know when to stop, look, and ask, hey, what happened here? Let me take an example. Suppose your bookings plan was 2,100 units, but the actuals came in at 6,000. That's great, but it's not just a small miss. That's a dramatic departure from the plan. You have to slow down, ask what caused the shift. Is it a one-time deal or a sign of something bigger? It's time to ask questions of those accountable for the bookings plan and to expect answers. Out of tolerance results should drive root cause analysis in order to understand why and to take the appropriate action. So the big question is, how do you set tolerances that are both realistic and useful? This is where many leaders trip up. If your historical forecast error is 20%, it makes no sense to set the demand tolerance at 5% next month. Instead, start where you are today. If you typically run at 20% error on bookings, then set your initial tolerance band at 20%. Maybe you can hold shipments at a plus or minus 10%. The key, however, is to start with a range that reflects your actual performance, not a wish. If you consistently are within tolerance, then you can tighten the tolerance. So now, while I recommend starting where you are when you first are implementing S&OP, it's important to understand that there is a real financial impact to having wide tolerances. Wider tolerances mean you're accepting more variability into your plans. If we accept more variability into our plans, then we need to have buffers that can absorb this variability. Let's maybe look at another example. If we have a shipping forecast of 1,000 units, if your shipment accuracy is plus or minus 20%, it would be considered intolerance if the actual shipments were between 1,200 units and 800 units. If it's plus or minus 10%, then the upper and lower limits drop to 1,100 units and 900 units. If your goal is for a 98% on-time delivery, then you need to have some way to manage this variation. This would come in the form of holding more inventory or increasing your production or supply chain flexibility. Both of these cost money. Improving the accuracy by tightening the tolerance and doing the root cause analysis with corrective actions will allow you to shrink those buffers. Kind of sounds like a better approach than just hoping we can make it better. At the start of implementation, don't overthink your demand tolerances. I have some starting tolerances that I use for bookings and shipments that vary somewhat with the type of business. In backlog-based businesses where orders are booked in 1 month and delivered in subsequent months, I will typically recommend a higher tolerance for bookings than for shipments. Why? Well, the backlog provides a buffer between our booking and shipments, so we can absorb some of the variability in bookings with our backlog. So the tolerance doesn't need to be as tight. Over time, as your process matures and the organization builds discipline, you can begin narrowing those tolerance bands and bringing the gaps closer together. The real power, though, of tolerances is how they turn numbers into signals. They tell you when to stop, when to ask questions, and when to adjust. They give leadership confidence that the process is under control, not because it's perfect, but because it's predictable. And at the end of the day, that's the real goal of forecast accuracy, not perfection, but trust. The ability to look at the numbers and know that when something's out of line, the system will catch it and the team will respond. At DBM, we use the S&OP process to help clients manage their business through education, measurements, and hands-on coaching. We make sure that the stakeholders understand the plan, they know who's accountable, and can make informed, strategic decisions. You can learn more about how S&OP supports operating parameters and how to get S&OP clarity at dbmsys.com. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching today's video. Subscribe to our channel for more on implementing S&OP. You can learn more about how DBM can take your process to the next level by visiting our website, www.dbmsys.com. Thank you and take care.